Of all the monsters that haunt our nightmares, none is more intimate than the one that wears our face. For the werewolf is not born in forests, but in the marrow of man. The vampire strikes from the dark, the ghost lingers among graves, the witch whispers in secret. But the wolf rises from within. It whispers of blood and hunger that never sleeps. It is the terror that your neighbor, your friend, your lover may not be what they seem, and darker still that you might awaken as beast. For thousands of years, across every land, humanity has carried this tale, told in ritual and myth, carved into lore, shaped by faith, enduring like an eternal wound. From Greek temples to Viking battlefields, from medieval courts to modern screens, the shadow returns again and again, always telling the same story: the man who becomes the wolf. Chapter 1: Greece, the wolf as divine punishment. The story of the werewolf begins in ancient Greece. Its earliest detailed account comes from the Roman poet Ovid, who tells the tale of King Lycaon of Arcadia, a ruler defined by arrogance and cruelty. Zeus, father of the gods, descended from Olympus disguised as a weary mortal, testing rumors of mankind's wickedness. Lycaon doubted his guest's divinity and resolved to expose him. At first he plotted murder, but arrogance twisted into sacrilege. Lycaon slaughtered a captive, roasted the flesh, and placed it among the feast, daring to deceive a god with human meat. Zeus was not deceived. Lightning tore through the palace, marble cracked, flames devoured Arcadia's halls. Hospitality was sacred law. By breaking it, Lycaon shattered the order of heaven and earth. His punishment was not death. As he fled, flesh split into fur, bones bent into claws, his jaw stretched into a muzzle, his scream twisted into a wolf's howl. His human mind endured, trapped inside a beast's body, condemned to hunger without redemption. Thus was born the first werewolf, not disease, not accident, but divine judgment. For the Greeks, this was not merely horror, it was instruction. Even kings must bow to laws older than thrones. Defy them, and humanity itself could be stripped away. High upon Mount Lykaion, the Greeks whispered of forbidden rites to Zeus Lykaios, the wolf Zeus. Mist veiled the summit, shadows breathed with dread. At its heart stood an altar of ash, blackened by centuries of sacrifice. Charred bones and scorched earth testified to rituals older than memory. Ancient writers warned that no mortal trespassed without consequence. Legends claimed that during these rites, human entrails were hidden among animal flesh. Whoever consumed the cursed portion was doomed. In that moment, judgment fell. Man became wolf. Yet the myth allowed a cruel mercy. If the wolf endured 9 years without tasting human flesh, he might reclaim his humanity in the 10th. Hunger became trial. Restraint became salvation. Most failed. To the Greeks, this revealed a terrifying truth. The beast was not absolute, but conditional. The werewolf was not merely monster, but moral struggle. A warning that savagery lived within, and humanity balanced forever on the edge. For centuries, these rites were dismissed as legend, until archaeology spoke. On Mount Lykaion, excavations uncovered the ancient ash altar, layered with offerings burned over thousands of years. In 2016, something unthinkable emerged: a human skeleton, the remains of a boy buried where only animals should have been. Scholars argued, coincidence or confirmation? Whether proof or intrusion, the discovery forced a reckoning. If human sacrifice once stained the mountain, then the myth of transformation was not fantasy, but ritualized fear. The werewolf's origins flickered between symbol and flesh. Myth crossed into history. In Norse lands, the wolf took another form. At Odin's feet lay two wolves, Geri and Freki, ravenous and eternal. They devoured the god's meat while he drank only wine. Here, the wolf was not curse, but power. Warriors sought not restraint, but frenzy. Thus rose the Ulfhednar, wolf-coated warriors who donned pelts to invite the beast into their flesh. In trance, they believed the wolf possessed them. They howled, they charged unarmored, they felt neither fire nor iron. This was not madness, it was theology. To become wolf was to become chosen. Yet power demanded payment. When battle ended, bodies collapsed, strength drained, minds fractured. Some never returned fully, honored in war, feared in peace. Eventually, law turned against them. The berserker trance was outlawed. What was once sacred became criminal. The wolf remained, but now as burden. With Christianity, the wolf darkened further. No longer divine punishment or sacred strength, it became the devil's beast. Werewolves were bound to witches, heresy, and satanic pacts. To call a man wolf was to strip him of humanity. Trials spread across Europe. Confessions were torn from flesh by torture. Men admitted to impossible crimes. In 1589, Peter Stump, the werewolf of Bedburg, was broken on the wheel, burned and erased as warning. These trials revealed no wolves, only fear. The wolf became accusation itself. The Enlightenment cooled the fires, but not the shadow. Doctors named lycanthropy as delusion. Madness replaced damnation. Courts wavered between execution and asylum. Science explained symptoms, rabies, epilepsy, hypertrichosis, but could not erase the myth. The wolf migrated from law into literature. Romantics reshaped it into tragedy. The werewolf became symbol, not sentence. In modern thought, the werewolf is metaphor. Psychology names it the shadow self, rage, trauma, desire, addiction. Transformation mirrors puberty, queerness, alienation, identity. The wolf is curse and liberation, wound and weapon. Cinema, games, and online culture keep the howl alive. The myth survives because it adapts. The werewolf endures because it is not monster, but mirror. Every age sees itself in the wolf. Hubris, frenzy, sin, madness, desire. To kill the wolf would be to kill part of ourselves. The beast never lived only in forests. It lived and lives in us. And so the story returns to silence. But the howl never truly fades. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of the werewolf and want an even better experience, kindly like, comment, subscribe, and share the content. It's the single best way to directly suppose the work that goes into every documentary. In return, you'll get access to seeing more of our work, perks like ads, free viewing, and the chance to vote in our next stories. Your support in any form means the world. As always, thank you for your time and attention,